These are the top 3 picks that the New Orleans Saints need to look at picking number 9 in the NFL draft. I'm going to say defensive end first. We really need a premier defensive end, edge rusher, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. We know that they change up these positions a good bit. And when you look at, there's Chase Young, there's Devon Gottschall, you've got Carl Granderson, you've got Cam Jordan, you got Brian Bresee. All those guys are great. But if you're talking about an absolute game changer off the edge for the New Orleans Saints defensive line, you have to look at defensive end. And when you see the players that the Saints have on their defensive line, they're solid. They're respectable. People are still going to respect Cam Jordan in his 15th year. Chase Young was top 6, top 7 in pressures last year. Gottschall is one of the better run stoppers in the league. Brian Bresee has proved worth it. We've also seen Carl Granderson be worth every bit of his extension as well, thankfully. But when you look at some of the defensive ends in this draft, I mean, you've got a Jalen Carter, if he's not, or not a Jalen Carter, an Abdul Carter. If he's not there, you're looking at a James Pierce. You're looking at a Mykel Williams, maybe even a Jack Sawyer or a Nick Scourton as well. Any of those guys would be great, but you just need to go get a premier edge rusher, because the best way to win in the NFL is to not only have a great quarterback, but have somebody who can disrupt the quarterback as well. And that's what an edge rusher, that's what a great defensive line is going to do. We see what the Myles Garretts, the TJ Watts, the Boses of the world are able to do. We just watched the Philadelphia Eagles with the best D-line in the league win a Super Bowl without blitzing against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So it's very clear what a good defensive line will do for you. If for some reason we're able to snag Abdul Carter, I don't think he'll be there at number 9. Now, the Saints could always trade up, but if the Saints are going to trade up, I think they should go grab a quarterback. More than likely not going to happen, but James Pierce will still be there. Mykel Williams could still possibly be there. I think the Saints have a really good chance at grabbing one of those 2 guys there. We'll see, but it's time to truly bring in Cam Jordan's replacement. And again, I maybe the Saints see that in Chase Young. Me as a diehard fan, I don't. I know a lot of fans out there weren't a fan of the Chase Young signing, and I can't necessarily blame them. Yes, Carl Granderson, again, Brian Bresee, all of those guys are solid, but we need a true game changer at the edge rusher position, and I think this NFL draft highly resembles that. If we do not go edge rusher, it's got to be a wide receiver. I mean, it has to be a wide receiver, because you lost MVS. Chris Olave is injury prone. You take a look at Rashid Shaheed, who's very solid, pretty good deep threat. I like him a lot as a wide receiver, but he was an undrafted free agent for a reason. And I'm not knocking his skill set. I'm not saying he's any less of an NFL player for that, but we need somebody who is a little more refined. Unlike Rashid Shaheed is, we need someone who is not as injury prone and is more durable, unlike Chris Olave. When you look at this draft, there's going to be a lot of options at number 9. Tetroa McMillan will more than likely be there, if not taken beforehand. I think that's who the Saints are going to be targeting. But if not, you've got Emeka Ibuka, who I would love. You've got Matthew Golden. You've got Luther Burden. Trey Harris may be a first-round pick. You can kind of reach with wide receivers in some NFL offenses, and they'll be okay. But I really would like either Golden, McMillan, or Ibuka. And if I had to personally pick, I would say I want Emeka Ibuka. I just think he comes from a great program. We see the wide receiver room that he's been in. I think he's got the skill set to step up as a wide receiver 1. And the Saints need a true pass catcher to help out, whether it's Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler, like whatever the case is going to be, we need a weapon at the pass catching position. And this draft holds a lot of very solid receivers there. And, if the Saints don't take either D end or wide receiver with the number 9 overall pick, trade that damn pick back. Mickey Loomis has never traded back a pick in his tenure as a Saints GM. He's always trading forward. If you do trade up, it's got to be within the top 3, maybe top 4 to 5 at worst, and you got to go grab a Shedeur Sanders. You got to go grab a Cam Ward. Those are the only 2 quarterbacks in this draft that are truly worth a first-round pick. Jackson Dart's going to get somebody fired if they draft him as a first-round pick. I don't want to see Will Howard. I don't want to see Jalen Milroe. I don't want to see Quinn Ewers. I don't want to see Riley Leonard in the first round because those are not first-round guys. Even Kyle McCord. Dillon Gabriel, I believe, could be a first-round quarterback, but nobody's really talking about him as a first-rounder, with the scouts and what they're putting out there. And it's not that the scouts are the end-all, be-all. I personally think Dillon Gabriel is a very solid quarterback, and even though he is smaller, height, weight, hand size, wingspan, arm length, all of those, we've seen guys like Kyler, like Russell Wilson, like Drew Brees, like Bryce Young come into the NFL and be successful being a shorter quarterback. So it's either defensive end, wide receiver, trade up to get a quarterback. And if you can't do any of those, I would probably prefer you not trade up to get a quarterback. Trade that pick back because you need tons of talent. You need tons of draft picks. The salary cap is always a mystery. Now we magically have $31 million in salary cap space, which is great. And some people are saying the Saints are going to do something big. Maybe they can still trade Derek Carr post June 1. I don't really know because I don't trust this team with the amount of money that they actually have to spend. But if you can't do D-end, wide receiver, or trade up for the only position being quarterback, which is either Cam or Shedeur, trade that pick back. Let somebody offer you a ransom, a king's ransom, a boatload of draft picks to come and get that number nine overall pick from you. Whether that's 2 firsts, maybe a second and a third, I'm not sure. But deal it smartly and allow your picks to pile up because I really think that's going to be the best course of action for the New Orleans Saints as things play out here. If the Saints trade up, I'm pissed. I feel that. I feel that the Saints really shouldn't trade up in the grand scheme of things because we know that you need all the draft capital you can get. I mean, you really do. You need every bit of the draft capital you can get to plug these holes on this team. Every bit of it. I'd love to see us trade back for the number 9 pick or stand pat and take a James Pierce, take a Mykel Williams. If for some reason Abdul Carter is there, go and grab him, get you a game changer in the draft at the edge position. That's really what I want to see the most if we're if we're being honest.
Hey, it's AJL here. Appreciate you sticking to the end of the video here on YouTube. You could have chose any other show, but you chose my video, and for that, I'm very grateful. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. Hit the bell on the channel so you never miss a post. Check me out on all social media platforms. Right here, you'll find a chance to subscribe to the show, a related video, and a playlist. See you guys in the next one.